Hello and welcome to Composition 1013. I'm Dr. Liam Lanigan. You can call me Liam. This is just a short video to talk you through the first assignment we're going to do together, which is the narrative. I wanted to just talk through the process because it might seem a little bit complicated the first time that we do it, but I'm hoping that when we do this in a relatively gentle assignment like the narrative, you'll get used to that process and it'll become more fluid in the coming weeks. Okay, so I just wanted to briefly mention the daily grades before I start. So this week you were asked to do two daily grade assignments, and I had a few queries about, well, where are the instructions for this, or where is the rubric, and so on. Just a quick reminder: those daily grades, you will get the full grade just for carrying those out. So there's no grading rubric as such, and also they're designed to be very short. So they're low stakes. They should take you about 10 minutes. They're just chances to jog your memory about a particular concept or to reflect on a particular assignment. And it's also a chance for you to practice writing. And that kind of low stakes writing has been proven to be very effective at improving people's overall abilities. And it'll also give me a sense of where you are as a writer as well. So as long as you're making an honest effort, you will get the full grade on those. So this week we're going to be doing a short first essay, which is a narrative. And this is a chance for you to tell a story. Now, the story can be about anything. It can be fictional, it can be real, it can be about you, it can be about somebody you know. There aren't really any restrictions on the story you want to tell. It should be a story that you feel is worth telling, that means something to you. So it can be an event, something should happen in it, but mainly it should have a sense of purpose. It should be clear to you why you want to tell that story. So the first thing you're going to do this week is going to be a short daily grade exercise where you will think about, well, what is the rhetorical situation for this piece of writing? So if you remember last week, we began thinking about how your writing is rhetorically situated. And you're going to think about things like, well, who is the audience for this? Now, in this case, the audience is going to be your classmates. And thinking then about, well, what sort of genre am I going to be writing in? What is the context here? And especially, well, what is my purpose? That's the thing that we really want to focus here. Because even when you're telling a story, it's still rhetorically situated. You may not want to persuade somebody of anything, but you do want to have some kind of an effect. You might want to make people laugh. You might want to create an emotional reaction. You might want to make people cry. But one way or the other, if you are clear on what your purpose is and what kind of response you want to provoke in your audience, then you're going in the right direction with this assignment. I wanted to briefly also mention the rubric. So there is a rubric at the bottom of this prompt. There's not much emphasis here on grammar. Okay, there is a section where you will get 20 points based on the quality of the writing, but that's only really partly about grammar. It's more about how well you engage your reader, and your ability to reach out to the reader and give them a sense of immersion in a story, right? So it's this. The other criteria in the rubric are descriptive detail and having a sense of purpose. So you get 30 points for the quality of the descriptive detail and 30 points for having a sense of purpose. And both of those things to me are much more important than your ability to perfectly punctuate a sentence. We can work on grammar, but I want to get a sense, first of all, of who you are as a writer and also where you are as a writer. What your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what sort of areas you need to work on. So you shouldn't get hung up on things like grammar. Do your best with that, and I'll give you feedback. I'll help you out with it if I notice any trends. But the really important stuff is that you're trying to immerse your reader in a world. Okay, so it's one thing to tell me what happens, But it's a different thing for me to feel as if I'm there. So it's one thing to say that I cycled to school in the morning, but if you can tell me about the cold wind that blows against your face and your knuckles being, white with cold, that's more descriptive, it's more immersive, and I'm more interested in that than necessarily being absolutely correct. In terms of the grade, I'm going to be straight up. The grade will take care of itself if you make an honest effort on this assignment, because I wanted to get used to writing, while thinking about the rhetorical situation. I wanted to think about your sense of purpose, why you're writing it. As long as you're doing those things, and as long as you make an honest and sincere effort to tell a story that's, that reflects the story you want to tell, the grade will very much take care of itself. I want to be straight up about that. So the real point here is to get you used to thinking about the rhetorical situation and thinking about the rubric. Now, this is where it gets more complicated. I need you to have the first draft of this done by Thursday. That's not rough work or bullet points. It should be a readable, finished essay. But in all of your big assignments this year, you're going to submit a readable, finished essay way before the final deadline. And I want you to get used to the idea that you're going to present material that you aren't happy with and isn't necessarily finished to be seen by other people. So I need you to have it by Thursday so that you can work with one another in small groups and give one another feedback on the story as it is at the moment. Okay, so you'll get 20 points if you submit your essay on Thursday, and it doesn't matter how good it is or how bad it is, in your opinion or anything else, you'll get those 20 points. And if you don't have it done and submit it on Canvas by Thursday, you can't get those 20 points. So get it done no matter how unhappy you are with it. And bear with me, if that makes you feel uncomfortable, you'll eventually, I think, start to buy into it, because your writing will improve when you buy into the idea of drafting. After you've submitted that on the Thursday, we'll do a workshop. You'll be in a group of 3, maybe 4, depending on numbers. And you're going to be asked to join together on a Google Doc. And I'll give you instructions for what to do, but you'll each paste your essays into the Google Doc. And then you'll carry out a series of exercises where you are asked to read one another's work and provide feedback on it. Now, this kind of work in an in-class setting usually takes about an hour. So we're talking about maybe an hour or so out of your next few days where you'll have to give some feedback to your group mates, and you'll also receive feedback. Now, the instructions will be included in the Google Doc, so I'll set that up for you. Again, you'll get 10 points of your overall participation grade for the course for just doing this. And again, it's an automatic 10 points as long as you take it seriously, as long as you are invested in it and are honest and sincere in the feedback that you give. What I would say about that feedback is avoid just telling somebody it's good or bad. You need to explain your impressions and why you feel somebody is doing some things really well, why people are maybe struggling with other things. And again, this is the first time you're going to do this in the course, so there's going to be some teething problems. Don't worry. The first time is just a chance to get used to it. It will be a really important part of our weekly coursework, doing those kinds of workshops, but I want you to just feel comfortable and get used to the idea of other people reading your work, and also being comfortable challenging one another and giving feedback to each other. So I'll be looking at what feedback you're giving, and maybe interjecting myself to sort of give advice on how to refine that. Small thing, if only 2 people in your group are participating and you're supposed to have 3 in the group, that's fine. Just work one-on-one. If none of your peers are responding, if you're the only person in there, email me. And at that point, I will maybe put you into another group or figure something out. What I would say is the feedback that you give one another in that sort of workshop on the Google Doc, that needs to be done by Saturday. So you'll have submitted a draft on Thursday and you'll have until Saturday to give feedback to your group peers. And then you'll take on board the feedback that you got from your classmates, and you're going to revise your essay. You're going to think about, well, what sort of changes am I going to make to my essay? And you'll implement those changes and submit a final draft. And that's what will get you the remainder of your grade, other than the 20 points that you did for doing the draft. So that is, it says on the prompt at the moment that that's due on Sunday. I'm going to move that deadline, or sorry, it says it's due on Friday. I'm going to move that deadline to Monday. So it'll be due on next Monday, the 27th of January. So that'll be reflected. I'll revise the prompt because I want you to have a little bit more time both to give one another feedback, but also to revise your work based on that feedback. So I hope all of that is clear and helpful. As always, though, if there are questions about this, and I think there will be because it's your first week doing it, feel free to get in touch. Go to the Canvas shell and go to discussions and questions and post your question there. And that way, if one person has a question, probably other people will have it as well, and we'll be able to answer it and you'll be able to clarify those things. Okay, so feel free to get in touch in those ways. Also feel free to get in touch via email and so on, but if it's a general course related question, it's easiest to get it there. Okay, so thank you very much, and I will talk to you real soon.